Hello everybody and welcome to the latest Cadcast. We're here to talk all things Coventry, all things Brentford, and we might have a little chat about Qarabag later on, but it will probably be short. Thank you very much to two gentlemen who've joined us tonight. We're here with esteemed Hollywood writer Ashley Colley, and we're here with esteemed musician and producer David. So, how are you doing, gentlemen?
Better.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Ash.
Oh, I was going to say the same thing. Much better than I was last week.
Right, Ash, we need to hear more from you this week. You were very quiet last week, very unusual for you. So, just feel free to chime in whenever you like. This is a safe space. There's no one here. You'll be fine. Don't worry. Okay, so
Dave wants me out.
Dave wants you out. Well, it's either you or Ange. Can't be both.
Well, you can stay then.
Thank you. He makes a lot more money than me, and I bet his severance pay is a lot bigger too.
I suspect his severance pay would be very nice. Can you imagine? Oh, right. Okay, so we may get into a little bit of that. We probably won't, but still. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the thing we have to get past before we move on to the fun stuff. Coventry. I know we won, but just how bad were we against Coventry? David, I'm going to hand over the floor to you because I feel there may just be a little bit of unhappiness from your corner.
Well, I don't know. We nearly lost to, 14th place championship side, with an absolutely clueless lack of tactical nous. A team that again set up to frustrate and hit on the counter. And I think we were very lucky to be only 1-0 down in the 88th minute. But, absolutely delighted for Brennan Johnson. That was unbelievable pressure. And that was absolutely fantastic to pull that off. And also absolutely fantastic from Jed Spence. That goal that he put in was absolutely extraordinary. Real get out of jail, couple of moments. But, as I said elsewhere, for me, Ange is in jail. despite the efforts of some of his players at the end. He can't paper over the fact that we have no idea how to attack teams that don't come out and leave spaces behind. Or at least that's how it looked until yesterday. But we'll come on to yesterday later. But in the spirit of being positive, I really want to underline, I really despise what's happened to Brennan Johnson. His performance may or may not be good enough at times, but there's absolutely no reason to be calling out players on social media and stuff. I think it's shameful that he's had to deactivate his social media accounts. I just don't know what sort of supporter does that. I just don't know. But what character? What a guy.
I think it takes a supporter with some personal issues if they're willing to abuse someone through. I mean, certainly if they're doing it with some nameless account and things like that. I mean, you just don't do that, do you? I mean, the guy's doing a job. You may not appreciate the job he's doing. You may not like the way he's doing it, but the guy's going out there and doing the best he can. No football player, well, apart from the guy Troy Deeney at Watford, no football player goes out there and deliberately tries to do badly. Certainly someone who's only in their second season at the club. He's going out there trying to do his best. And last year he was an important player for us. So there should be absolutely no reason for getting on his back and doing what people have done. So
yeah, and I'll just add one more thing to that actually, which is I actually even sort of in private, like without going and dissing him publicly or whatever, Brennan Johnson, okay, he could do better for sure in general, but it's the way we've been set up that does not play to his strengths. And what we've seen with 2 goals, I think, is that if you play the ball into space in front of him, instead of playing it to his feet or behind him, then he can do great things. But if you consistently give him the ball in a poor position, then he can. Well, okay, if it would be nice if he could beat his man a bit more often. That's true, and that is a criticism. But the fact is, the percentages say turn and recycle. We and that's one of my frustrations, many frustrations with Ange. He's making Brennan Johnson look bad, and when Bentancur played that ball in front of him into space, he did the job. I can't remember, was it Sonny that played him in yesterday? I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, he still had a lot to do. And even the ball from
Sonny
Sonny,
or
actually,
Maddison?
it was Sonny's assist for Brennan Johnson's goal.
Maddison to Sonny to Johnson.
Yeah, and even actually, to be honest, Sonny's pass, he's getting an assist for that, but that pass wasn't very good, and it left Brennan with an awful lot to do, and he did a fantastic job to score from there. Really good. Yeah. But again, he was played into space. Yeah, and that's partly because Brentford were a bit naive and left him space. But the fact is, if he gets into those positions, he'll score and he'll thrive.
Can I say something?
So
no,
you may.
You're out.
Go on, jump
Ash
in.
out.
Bye. All right, let's finish. I'm going to say about Coventry. Dave, I sort of agree with quite a few of those things, except for the coach situation. But some positives from the game, because there weren't a lot. He actually started three teenagers, I believe. The two 18-year-olds, Bergvall and Gray, and Odebert, who I believe is also 19, which is great. So he started three teenagers, two of them who we think are going to be the future of our team. And so I commend him for that. The other thing is, he sort of has a point, is that, like, we're playing Karabag this week, and we can't play the first team every game. He's got to play some of those players, like those two young guys, like Jed Spence. Of course, he won't play. Well, he's got to play him in some of these games, because he doesn't have a lot of opportunities to give them game minutes, because he's giving the first team. Well, I think we started the same team today or yesterday as against Arsenal. So got to commend him for he took it on the chin. He put some players out there that needed game minutes. But yes, overall, we got out of hell. And actually, Bentancur was involved in both goals. Both of those goals, he dispossessed the opposition.
That's right. Yeah.
Both goals. One was a direct assist. One was like a pre-assist. And it was great to see him do that. Wish you could see it more. I thought we actually made some changes today in formation. Yesterday in formation. But anyway, Coventry game. We're in the draw on Wednesday, and let's forget about it. And I'm really glad Johnson got a goal. Actually, that's two game winners in two games. 2 games, 2 game winners. Yeah, Wednesday and also yesterday. So good for him.
The thing I felt about Coventry was everything we did was just so slow until we got to the point of, we've actually really got to do something now. Because up until that point, we were just tapping it around and doing little bits and pieces. And it's kind of screwing ourselves up in places, because we very, very nearly conceded a second. If we'd conceded a second, if Ben Davis, all hail Ben Davis, if he hadn't been on hand, we definitely would have conceded a second goal. And that would have been game over for us. And we'd have been,
well, didn't he, Ben Davis? He got us out of trouble twice, and I think he nearly scored twice.
Yeah. So he was really important for us. So, the Welsh Mafia came to our rescue in that game. But up until that point, up until things got really hectic at the end, we were so slow, we were so ponderous, and it just didn't look as though what Ange wanted, what he's been preaching in the past, was getting through. And it was the first time I'd looked at it and gone, should I be worried here? Should I be worried that our players aren't actually listening to the manager and doing what they're supposed to be doing? Because there was no pace in the game. Everything was so slow and so little movement. I mean, I remember putting on the forum, why is there no movement? And I was screaming it at the TV. I'm sure my wife was very happy about that. But, I was screaming at the TV, why is there no movement here? We're playing against a championship side who are not particularly great defensively. They were there to be got at. We could have done it. And we were moving the ball around side to side, tippy-tappy, slow and slow and slow. And one of the things that Ange has said in the past is he hates having possession for possession's sake. And that's almost all we've seen for much of this season up until the Brentford game.
And much
towards the end of last season, definitely. So for me, it's a case of it needs to get through to the players. It's not what whether it's what the manager wants. Maybe he wants this and he's telling us something completely different, but I don't believe that. I think he's telling us what he wants to see. He's just not getting it yet. So even though the players are saying we're backing him, we're behind him all the way, and we're doing exactly what he wants, frankly, mate, you haven't. There are times you have not done what he said, and you need to steamroll the sides.
The question. Yeah, it begs the question, Stu. Is it the players not getting it, or the manager? Which is where Dave's hump comes in. He thinks it's the manager not being able to translate it to the players, and is it partly the players that they're either not listening or they can't do it? I'll tell you this: I watched the Arsenal the Arsenal game today against Man City. They had 10 players only, of course. They had a low block where there was like 5 yards between their back five and their four. And City were tippy-tapping it around because they couldn't find a way in. Mm-hmm. So there's an element of it's difficult to break down those low block teams. It really is. And Man City couldn't do it today until they got a corner. And it was off a set piece that they actually got the equalizer. It's not easy. So it could be a combination. The manager's not getting through, or the players are just unable to do it. I don't know.
Well, one thing's for sure is that you don't break down a low block playing at the speed and intensity that we were playing against Coventry, Arsenal, and almost every other match we've seen this season, and for a lot of matches last season. It is so slow. Vicario's ball out to the first defender is too slow. He has somebody on him immediately on receiving the ball. That defender is then playing a slow ball into central midfield. The central midfielder is getting closed down before the ball arrives to him. And it goes from Vicario all the way up to the final third with very, very slow balls to feet, never into space. I'm speaking French. To feet and never into space. And at very low speed. You can't break down Coventry like that, let alone Arsenal.
You can't let the opposition dictate your pace. You cannot let the opposition dictate the pace of the game, certainly when you're chasing it.
Yeah, and
it just doesn't work.
No, so I was watching today's game really closely because I'm going like, well, what's different than us? They were playing out of the back a few times, but both teams today, what they were doing, which I would hope that Vicario can do a little bit more. They actually were kicking it up. And we do have a guy now, Solanke, who can hold the ball up. So we do actually have another option now, as opposed to what Dave just said, slow working up the field. We can occasionally, sometimes, half the time, knock the ball up. Sometimes Arsenal would knock the ball up and the ball would come back, and they'd fiddle around. And they'd knock the ball up. But then out of that, play continued, and it was actually incredibly exciting. But they were doing tippy-tappy in the back sometimes, like we are, but they had the option of kicking it out, and maybe I hope that is an option for Vicario to now that we have Solanke to get it up the field quicker.
Well, let's move on to Brentford, because I think in the Brentford game we suddenly saw there were more long balls coming out from Vicario. It wasn't all just playing it out from the back every single time. There was a better pace to the game, and we were the ones setting the pace for much of the game. There was a period in the second half where, just after Brentford made their substitutions, where suddenly they were getting back into it and they were looking pretty good. And you're like, oh, hang on a second here. They're starting to set the pace. And we got hold of the ball and we started to move it around the way that we wanted to again. And then, of course, we scored our third goal. I was very happy, but I think that is the closest I've seen to peak Celtic football that I was watching under Ange Postecoglou. I didn't get to watch a lot of Celtic football under Ange Postecoglou, but when they were playing really well, That's the kind of stuff we were doing. They had multiple routes to goal. They were passing the ball around swiftly with a plan. It was crisp passing, and it wasn't just formulaic. It's going to go here to there to there. There was movement between the players, and you had 3, 4, 5 players that could score a goal. We had 3 different players score a goal this weekend, and it could have been a couple more. So I was really, really happy. But the question now is going to be, was that the blip? Was that one game the blip? Or has this extended period been a longer blip that we are now hopefully past, and we're going to be seeing more games like the Brentford one? Because that's what we need going forwards.
Absolutely.
I mean, I thought that it was an absolutely fantastic performance yesterday. I mean, really, really strong performance. There's so many positives from yesterday. I think probably for me the main thing was how incredibly aggressive and relentless the press was.
Absolutely.
And that created so many opportunities for us.
Mm-hmm.
And once we pressed and got the ball, we were looking to get on the front foot, and we were playing passes into space. We were playing very quick 1-2s. People were getting around. Everybody was much better yesterday. Everybody. It was totally different gravy. And so I think the one thing I'd really like to highlight is the press. They could not get out.
Absolutely.
No.
Good
was
call.
it a coincidence that it was James Maddison's best game of the season?
It was. No coincidence. It was. So he was leading it, right? Because he was. So what is that then? Then if we think it's the manager or as the players, why was Maddison hasn't been playing like this since the first 10 games of last season? Why all of a sudden yesterday? What happened? Is he healthy? Is he got a kick up the ass? Did his wife give him a kick up the ass? His mom? Whatever. It's like night and day.
Well, apparently he got a telling off from his mum because he took his shirt off after scoring the goal and getting a yellow card. So his mum said, "You cost me a point in fantasy football."
So what do we think it is? What caused? But listen, just recently, for game after game after game, when Charlie's here and whatever, get Maddison on the bench, start somebody else. Get Maddison on the bench, start somebody else. What happened? What got him motivated to?
Well, I think potentially he knew Charlie wasn't going to be here tonight to criticise him, so he was like, "Okay, now I can play with a little bit more freedom." He just played better. He played with the freedom of just confidence. I think he's been low so far this season. He hasn't shown his best at any point, and suddenly in this one game he exploded. But we saw him playing like another 15 yards further forward as well, whereas previously we've seen him dropping back and trying to like knit the play together, and that's not what we need from him. We need him further up. We need him getting into the box. I mean, I said it in the last podcast. Why is he not making those runs into the box that he was doing in the first 10 games of last season? And he hadn't. He just stopped doing it. So it's fantastic to see him playing so well, playing with a smile on his face and getting into the box and creating the kind of opportunities. We could have scored 3 more goals yesterday than we did.
Easily 3 more, because I think.
Well, there was that Solanke chance where it was like just a little bit hectic in the box. A little bit more of a short touch would have gone in. And then there were 2 chances for Sonny.
Yeah.
Both of those should have been taken. Or at least had a good hit. So yeah, Johnson's chances were not easy. You look at the XG on that; they were actually very, very low. So
well, yeah, but on that one where I think he became too cautious, he should have just shot, and maybe he was trying to pass to Solanke, and it ended up being neither one. He probably should have shot because he's got a great shot on him, But yeah, there was at least 3 or 4 goals we could have had, more at least.
And at the other end. At the other end, I know we conceded a goal early, but our goalkeeper was showing some proper Big Vic energy there. He put in a great performance. I think that save, late on flying save, that was top class.
He made a great shot stopping.
He made one massive error. He
made a few massive. He made
one. He made some errors. He made one massive error.
Yesterday.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Vicario's shot stopping was fantastic.
Yeah.
Vicario's decision making was as bad as his shot stopping was fantastic. His
Oh, I don't know
that
about that. We're
weird
going to
thing
disagree
where
on that.
oh, I mean, there was the one where he didn't come out to collect, and they nearly scored. There was the one where he was trying to weirdly dribble on his own line. There was punching into. I mean, it was the best and the worst of Vicario. You know, he's starting to remind me slightly of Aurelio Gomez.
You are not the first person to say that.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you
the
know,
Italian Gomez. Certain people are
okay.
unfairly dubbing him, I'd say.
I think he's got more character and more, you know, he's a braver keeper than Gomez. But, you know, he's got to sort some of that stuff out, because that could have
Yeah.
easily have been 1 or 2 goals against.
Well, Gomez was not
You know,
short of character.
no,
Like,
it's funny because didn't Ange sort of indicate it? I don't think he really cares about if we win 5-2 or something like that. He
I don't
just,
either.
you know, so it's not. He might say, well, we'll stick with him because yeah, he'll make, but he's also a great stopper. By the way, Tony Parks several years ago, you know, the UEFA Cup winning goalkeeper was here a few years ago. And Spurs were here. We met him at the pub. Who else was with him? Stefan Freund, I think it was actually. And Parksy
the
were
cop
here.
hero that is Stefan Freund, yeah.
And Parksy actually, we were talking about goalies. He actually said Gomes, by the way, not Gomez. Gomes was actually technically the best goalie he had ever seen. Unfortunately, he came with all those other things. He didn't say the word clown, but he sort of intimated those clownish type activities. But he said technically the best goalkeeper he'd ever seen.
He certainly had a few peccadillos, shall we say. He was
Yeah.
a little bit erratic at times. I mean, I loved the guy. I thought he was a lot of fun to watch. But he also had me going like, oh, what's he done now? It's like you could guarantee there was one clanger per match. But you know, we've seen a lot of that. We've seen a lot more than one clanger per match from other goalkeepers in the past. So
But
I mean, how long did we?
to go back, Vicario definitely got us out of jail a couple of times.
Oh yeah,
Yesterday, some superb stops, superb.
By the way, today, just another little thing I saw today because of Vicario, when he was blocked out by that the goal they scored. I forget, was not Saliba, the other guy who scored the goal, the winner.
Gabriel, yeah.
Yeah, 2 guys blocking us off. When they scored today, Arsenal, they had 2 guys blocking off the goalkeeper. They're still doing it. It's part of their dark arts. It's part of Arteta and cheating and doing whatever you can to get an edge. Do whatever you can to and Trossard is part of it. They do it, even though they've got some really good players. Anyway, it's an issue. It's still an issue. And Stu, you put that law or something that said if you interfere, it's an indirect free kick. Well, Tim Howard, the ex-goalkeeper, Man U Everton goalkeeper, is one of the pundits here on NBC, and he was saying it happened during his time, but he said he would tell the ref every single time before the set piece, hey, they're blocking me off. Hey, they're blocking me off. And he thought ultimately it did work because the ref just felt pressure to do something, you know? So it might well be something like that, but Vicario has to be more mouthy about it, you know?
I don't think Vicario's shy in coming forward. I think he is a bit... He'll shout his mouth off, but I think he needs to be a little bit more physical and barge some people out of the way to get to the ball.
Yeah.
And then if people are in the way, then collapse like a sack of spuds and say they're obstructing me because it's against the rules. Law 12 in the game. I looked it up specifically after seeing that very goal today. It was frustrating, very frustrating, because we suffered from that so much last season, and we were told the law has been changed. We will not see those kind of issues again. And we've already seen it in 2 Arsenal games this season. They're still doing it, and they're still getting away with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, can we ask you guys something about today? I actually saw something a little different, as opposed to Sonny and Brennan being out wider as the flank players. They were actually moving into the inside forward channels, and your doggy and Paro going outside. It's a slight change. I mean, both Johnson's goal was from that inside channel. He was running on an inside, both of the ones where he missed and the one. And I think that Sonny was actually moving inside as well from the left. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but I was looking and go, oh yeah, they are a little bit more inside forward type thing, as opposed to flank plays.
Yeah, it was something that stood out to me. You watched the game, you could see Sonny moving inside and almost playing the role as a 9 at times. And also Brennan Johnson making the runs further inside, whereas normally he'd been staying out wide. And I thought the interesting thing was that Maddison was going wide left and Kulusevski was going wide right at times. And you're kind of like, well, where's our midfield? Because so far we've got Bentancur left, that's it. Because normally you've got Porro and Udogie inverting and going into central, but they were playing much closer to your standard wing-back type positions. Still playing very far forward, very aggressive. But yeah,
so that's a
I thought it was interesting.
change.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. It was a slight change.
I also think Sonny's better. Sonny, I don't know about Brennan Johnson yet because I have not seen enough of him. But Sonny is definitely better as a sort of a more central, not as a striker, but sort of a left-sided attacking player.
Like an inside forward,
like
a hybrid winger
position.
Striker, yeah.
Yeah, he's much more effective on that sort of quarter of the way in, and perhaps the inverted wing backs. Perhaps they've been cramping his style somewhat because he's got Udogie where he should be, and yesterday he was where I want to see him. He was even further central than that a lot of the time, actually, Sonny, I noticed. And that forced Udogie out further wide. By the way, I thought Udogie was much better yesterday as well.
Yeah,
much better. He's been very frustrating to me for quite a long time, for about 6 months, I'd say.
That's a long time.
Yeah, no, I'm not. So I'm saying before his injury, I was already frustrated with him because I feel like he doesn't get his head up. He gets into decent positions, but because he hasn't got his head up, he doesn't give a good ball afterwards. And yesterday, on quite a few occasions, he managed to play some very interesting passes from that more advanced position. Because I've been thinking, well, what's the point of having Udogie up there? Because he doesn't really do anything once he gets the ball in those positions. So I think perhaps like him playing a bit wider gives him a bit more space, and perhaps he's more suited to playing there.
I thought it was quite interesting. Udogie had a better game, but I thought Pedro Porro was much quieter. So whereas Pedro, I think Porro's been one of our best players this season. I mean, I know Danny Murphy on Match of the Day said that he thinks that James Maddison has been our best player this season. I was like, no, James Maddison's been quiet this season. Yeah, for me, it was going to be Pedro Porro or Decky.
But isn't Danny Murphy a member of the Ineffective Midfielders Union? And they have to stick together.
He played for us, so I mean, if Jamie Redknapp had been on the pitch as well, been on the sofa as well, or Oyvind Leonardson, just put them all together, and yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh God, that takes you back, doesn't it? Oyvind Leonardson, okay, Jesus Christ.
So all right, so we were noticing changes. Why was Brentford allowing us to do those things? Did it finally just something clicked in the fifth game of the fifth Premier League game of the season? Why did it change?
I am trying very hard not to. I'm trying very hard not to say something here.
No, go ahead, because it is the elephant in the room, Dave.
I think I know what it is. Brentford were injury hit. Brentford had quite a few injuries, and they're going to struggle a lot more this year without a player like Ivan Toney up front. The guy they brought in to replace him is out injured for the next 3 months or something like that, and Vissa as well, who's also played through the centre, is also injured. And then they had the Danish midfielder who normally works really hard and does really well. Yeah. He was also injured. So, we were playing against an injury hit side, but then we had, regardless of that, you can only beat the team put out in front of you, and
absolutely,
you've got to make the chances.
But I do think that's part of the reason is that we won't be playing Brentford's every week. Not injury hit Brentford's. I also think that Thomas Frank maybe didn't get the memo that all the other players, all the other managers have got, which is just sit deep and let them run out of steam, and they'll give you the ball and you can score. He didn't play that. He didn't play that way. He didn't play the way a lot of other teams have been playing against us. So it did lead to more room. It did lead to, and we were playing against inferior players. I mean, I'm not taking away from what was a fantastic performance. Just saying, as I think I said it in the forum, I said, I'm not coming back on what I said after the Coventry game. It's going to take a lot more of that standard performances and against better teams before I come around.
Okay, so one thing you guys can't see is we've actually got comments on YouTube now.
Right.
On the screen we have a message from, I really don't want to say your name because that's just probably going to get me. Gamek Ok. Let's call him Gamek Ok. He said Son did not have a good game. 2 assists would kind of say otherwise, I think. Maybe he didn't have a good game in front of goal, but in terms of his general play, in terms of working as a teammate, I thought he did pretty well.
I completely agree with the person that commented. I think it's true. He got 2 assists. One of them left, as I said earlier, left Brennan Johnson with an awful lot to do, and it could have been a much better pass. But okay, he got the pass, and the other assist, that was to Maddison, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was excellent. That was an excellent piece of play by Sonny. But when we were absolutely relentlessly dominating them in the first half and for a while in the second half, we really, really needed to take our chances, because you cannot press and dominate like that for 90 minutes. You know that they're going to get their chances. It's just inevitable. And it means, I think you said, Ashley, maybe Ange doesn't care if we win 5-2. Absolutely. And neither do I. In fact, I would love that. But you have to put those 5 goals in.
Me too.
You have to take the chances. And Sonny, he missed 2 chances. I just don't know where he's gone.
Gilt edge chance.
Gilt edge for Sonny. They were there's
right, okay. They're the kind of chances that Sonny a year and a half ago would have gobbled up. Absolutely. Yeah. It wouldn't be gilt edge for your normal player.
No,
but
absolutely.
This is a guy who regularly exceeds his expected goals. So yeah.
I also didn't think he was generally particularly good outside of that. But you're right. 2 assists. So the stats, and you have to be careful with stats. I'm not sure what his other stats were. I haven't looked. But I thought he was not fantastic yesterday. Missed a couple of chances which would have put us outside. And wasn't as involved as I'd like in large parts of the game. So yeah, I would agree with the commenter, which probably means we're both wrong. So
Dave, to the bench with him as well, then, right?
Sorry.
To the bench with him as well, like we were saying about Maddison.
Well, no,
not sure we can right now, can we? So many injuries.
I'm not sure. I know. Yeah, it's true.
My point with Maddison is that I wanted us to sign during the transfer window somebody that would push Maddison to the bench or force him to up his game, and we didn't. I don't know if perhaps he should be. If he hadn't done that performance just that, probably I would have been saying we should bench him, because I think Kuli's doing really well in that number 10 position or number 8. So plus position.
So are we going back to what was going on in the first few games, because Brentford just happened to they were injured and whatever, and are we going back to Dave will get his hump back? And
no, I'm just going to say under observation. Let's keep an eye on it. The patient isn't out of danger yet.
Okay, well, we have another comment. Same guy, Gamek Ok. I'm gonna call him Gamek Ok. He said he worked well though, but Son will have good games again. So smiley face. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Not his best game, but still effective. Had an effect on the game. He'll have better games. He'll have a lot worse games, certainly as he gets older. But yeah. Okay. In terms of him sitting on the bench, we've got Odegaard out injured. Werner pulled up with an injury in the game against Coventry and probably isn't fully fit yet. And And then after that, you're looking and you go, well, who's left to play on the
Mikey
wing?
Moore.
So you've got young
Mikey
Mikey
Moore.
Moore, who
Yeah,
came on and made his Premier League debut. Everybody happy with that?
Fantastic. Yeah, delighted. I wish he could have got on earlier, and if
Yeah, yeah,
and
Yeah,
if
me
we'd
too.
taken some of those chances, sorry, but if we had, then they would
Yeah.
have maybe got 10, 15 minutes rather than
absolutely.
five or so minutes. But yeah, what a moment. See Mikey Moore come on.
The point when they made their changes and they came back into the game, I was thinking, right, I've seen a lot of Mikey Moore and I enjoy watching him play. If we brought him on now and we fed him the ball, he would actually swing the game back in our favour because he retains the ball so well. He, and he does something with it. It's not just holding onto the ball for just simply holding onto the ball. He does something with it. He brings players into the game and creates other chances and moves everybody 10 yards forward, which was what we needed to do at the time. So I was hoping he'd get on then. Unfortunately, he only got a few minutes at the end, but really happy to see him come on because there is a serious young player in there, and I suspect he may well get more minutes against Karabakh on Thursday night.
And Stu, what you've seen of him, is he a flank wing player?
He's the kind of player where you go, like, he's so good, he could play in either wing or he could play through the centre. He's not. I don't think he's big enough. I don't think he's big enough and strong enough yet to be a centre forward. But also at the same time, I'm not sure you'd want to restrict him to playing in just that role because he is so good in the build-up play. His best games that I've seen, he's been playing off the left and coming in and shooting on his right foot. But I've also seen him play on the right and do extremely well there. I'm a huge fan of this guy. I mean, the first time I saw him play was the Nottingham Forest Cup final a couple of years ago. And just his first touch, you go, oh, crap, there's a real player there. Because sometimes you can just go, you look at a player and their first touch is that good. I think I saw it when Ryan Mason played. Because Ryan Mason got the ball, and when he received the ball, his head was up and he knew exactly where he'd be putting it. And you go, crap, there's a player there who could do really well. And he played for England. So, I think there was a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and it'd be great if he can get minutes, against Karabakh, and if he can get minutes against whoever we're playing in the next Carabao Cup. Hopefully we won't be in such a dire situation next time. That's one for the future, and that's just really exciting. Well, that's one that really gets me excited. But it'd be hard to drop Sonny to the bench at the moment.
I've seen Bergvall in some of those highlights also play on the flank. Previous highlights.
I think he drifts to the flank. I don't think he's a flank player. He drifts to the flank.
Like we saw Maddison.
The thing that really interests me, Maddison was definitely going out to the flanks. Yeah. The thing about Bergvall that I really want to see more of from him is I want to see more of his leadership qualities. He's very much a player that can lead a team. There's a video of him when he was captain of the under-14s or something for Sweden, and he's given team talks to the rest of the boys before, and like, wow, okay, they're all focused in on what he's saying, and I think there's a lot more to come from him. So let's go with that and see how he does. I think there's so much to come from him. He's so good at picking up the pace of the game. He's so good at knitting the play together and just having little corners and angles that some other people don't see.
We're talking about Bergvall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Gray had a very interesting cameo as well. I like the look of him.
Yeah, Gray's an interesting player. I think we're still a long way off seeing the best of him.
Yeah, but I thought he had some
plenty
really nice
more to
touches,
come.
nice passes and stuff.
Yeah.
He played 90 minutes in that game, so Ange is going to be using him, obviously, because he's versatile as well.
Against
right?
Coventry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he can play midfield, he can play right back, he can play centre back, yeah. Okay, we've got some more messages coming through. We've got Olmo. Olmo has said, all right, boys, I'm a Man United fan. I just thought that we play you next week. We still don't know what our best midfield is. You're a bit more settled than us. I hope we win, though. And he's followed it up with, hopefully we can take our chances. We didn't on Saturday. We should have won that game like 4-0. Manchester United. hate to say it, Olmo, I think you're in for a fairly long, hard, slow season until you finally build up the balls to sack your manager, because you ain't going anywhere under Ten Hag.
Haven't they been doing better under him this season, though?
What's
Manchester
that?
United. Haven't they been a bit better under him? No, haven't they? I thought they had.
Well, they've lost to Brighton and drew against Crystal Palace, both of which they won last season. So they're not doing particularly well.
Yeah. They're even on points. We're even on points with them.
Okay, so they've been doing really badly. and they should get rid of their manager.
Yeah, and Ten Hag seems to me one of the most not clueless. Maybe he does know. He seems he's so maybe narcissistic. I found out that he's actually from a billionaire's family. He's a really rich guy that comes from one of the richest families in, where is he from? Holland. And I'm going, well, that's where his narcissism, because the guy would say the most ridiculous stuff like, oh yeah, we're one of the most entertaining teams in the league. And I'm going, what game is he watching? I have friends. My dad was a Man U fan. One of my best Welsh friends here is a Man U fan. So I'm aware of what Man U, but you're right, Stu. The longer he stays there, the better, actually. Great, because they ain't going anywhere with it.
But I mean, it's going to be, this is one of the test matches, for Ange, for me. We need to start beating the bigger teams, and we haven't been. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how we do, and I really hope we put out the same sort of performance against Manchester United as we did against Brentford. Yeah.
I think, as you said, it's kind of the litmus test. We've played one really good game this season. We've had some fairly indifferent or bad games apart from that. The only top side we've played so far really is Arsenal, and they played like Stoke. So, I mean...
but we didn't lay a glove on Arsenal. But let's not go back to Arsenal. We didn't lay a glove on them for 90
We
minutes.
did score 4 goals against Everton. Hey, just since we're playing carrier bag on Thursday, here's a question before we get to the Man U game. What should he do in terms of, he rotated 8 players out for the last game? What do you think he will do, or what do you think we should do for this game?
I think we'll see Dragusin come in.
He doesn't have any choice.
Yeah,
what's that?
He's going to have to.
He has to rotate. There's no choice. There's so many matches in such a short period of time that there is no option but to rotate at the moment.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, guys? Why are we rotating our goalkeeper? I mean, if there's one position that doesn't need to be rotated, it's your goalkeeper. Unless we're saying we don't want to risk him picking up an injury, a bruised rib or something like that from playing in a game. It's not someone who's likely to pick up a muscle injury. It's not someone who's likely to be overexerted in terms of the physical effort he puts on a pitch. So why are we not saying to our goalkeeper, okay, you're going to go out there and you're going to play every single game until...
I can't remember who played against Coventry.
You feel unable.
I've got a blank. It was Forster, yeah. So
somebody had suggested to, in reference to what you're saying, somebody, and this could be totally off the wall, that it's in his contract he has to play the cup games. It wouldn't be surprising if that was true, because I totally agree with you. Why can't Vicario play most of the games?
It would be horribly surprising to me, because I can't ever imagine Daniel Levy agreeing to a contract like that.
Is there an argument to say that you want your reserve goalkeeper to have a little bit of match time and match fitness, so that if you need to call on him, he's not coming out of 18 months of playing PS5?
Yeah, but is he the guy too? What about the other guy? Didn't the other guy play in the preseason? Was it Austin? I thought he was pretty good.
Austin, yeah. Well, he signed a new contract, so I thought he was okay. He's not Vicario levels, but I mean that's not really that much of a shame. I don't think he's as good at the ball at his feet, but then it's the kind of thing you're only going to get better with playing with that first choice defence and seeing how well you do. If you really struggle, then okay, your chances are going to be lessened. But I would like to see Austin play against Qarabag.
All right.
I suspect it's going to be Foster again.
Who else, since we started with him, who else on defense? Jed Spence can't play. So Gray at fullback and Dragishin and Davis at centre backs. And who do we have on the left?
We may see Max Robson play, I think. So he's on our B list. So,
Max Robson.
Okay.
Wow.
yeah,
He doesn't even have
had a couple of appearances in pre-season. Last one was against QPR. He's plays down the left-hand side. I don't think Karabag is a major concern for us. So let's hope that if he does play, then he puts in a reasonable performance.
Do we have, apart from Ben Davies, do we have another central defender from the youngsters?
Dorrington.
Yeah.
Jamie Dorrington, who's only just come back from a fairly lengthy injury.
I think he's been on the sub bench this season though already.
I was just thinking maybe Ben Davies could play the left back position and Dorrington in central defence.
That's right. Or play one of Van der Ven or with Dragish and or like you only rotate one of those two guys.
Yeah. Yeah, because it would be nice to have, because although we shouldn't be worrying about carrier bag, I would like really not to be worrying about them, and I might be worrying about them if we've got like an entirely sort of
if we switch around 8 or 9 players again,
yeah.
I don't think we can do the 8 or 9 switches simply because some of those players aren't going to be fit. I don't think Werner's going to be able to start. Odebear's certainly out. Richarlison, when will Richarlison ever be fit? You hear Ange said, stop asking me about Richarlison, because there's not going to be any news until I've got something to tell you.
Well, how about the club being a bit more transparent with us?
Yeah.
Then people will stop asking him.
I have mixed feelings. Yes, transparency would be lovely for us as fans, but the more information you give out, then it gives like the extra little bit of an advantage to the opposition. So for me, I'm quite happy with us not knowing everything and just waiting to see which players actually turn up on the pitch. Sometimes I think it's great when a player is played when we weren't expecting them to, because it's just like, oh, that's a nice little surprise for us, and hopefully the opposition manager has planned out to be facing X player and not this guy instead. So maybe it gives us an advantage.
Wow, I don't know. I don't think it'd make.
Olmo has given us his predicted Manchester United side. Do you want to hear it?
Sure.
So Onana, Dalot, De Ligt, Martinez. There is no way Martinez should be able to play against us. That man should have been sent off against Palace. Mazraoui, Kobe Mainu, Urgat. Oh yeah, okay, the new guy. Bruno, Ahmad, Rashford, and Xerxes. I mean, that's a solid enough side, but there's nothing really in there that scares me, I'll be honest. He says, we will play Rashford against Spurs because Garnacho didn't play very well on Saturday. He will drop him back to the bench.
Fair enough.
I
mean, we'll most likely have the same 11 as today, won't we? Against Manchester United. I don't see anybody being benched. I don't see anybody knocking on the door to come into the team.
Unless Bentancur is suspended from now, when is that? There must be a hearing coming up, right?
I don't think they've appealed it. I think they're just going to accept the 4-match ban.
Accept it, yeah. That's what.
Has there been a 4-match ban announced?
It's 4-match ban for the comments about Koreans.
Yeah. I didn't see that. When was that announced? I didn't see that.
Well, he was supposed to appeal it, he was saying, by last Thursday, and Stu might have suggested we didn't appeal, so we'll accept whatever the punishment is.
I'm not sure when the ban is due to start, though. So I guess if it was Thursday, then it's the next round. So yeah, he'll miss the Manchester United game. But then Bissouma came in and looked good.
Mixed bag.
Like
came in immediately, got himself booked.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then made that
and then started to show us Bissouma type things.
But then made that tackle that set up the goal.
Yeah. Also, that was fantastic. Yeah. And I think he also, I think Vicario and Romero were having a right go at him after the whistle because he switched off defensively right at the end. So it's a mixed bag, but yeah, that was a great tackle that set up the goal, and it's good that he's back.
Although it is sad that Bentancur might be suspended because I think he's
Absolutely pissed off
finally
about that.
coming around. Finally coming around after all those injuries. It's looking good.
And an absolutely fucking ridiculous number of matches to be banned for.
Yeah, absolutely.
So many matches coming up.
Sorry? Yeah.
We've got so many matches coming up. We're going to be so busy.
Yeah, exactly. We are going to feel the crunch, I think. But then those young guys are going to be playing.
Yeah. Oh, there's something we haven't said, and that is congratulations to Solanke.
Yes.
Yeah, congratulations to Solanke for his first goal. And while we're on congratulations, if we can congratulate one of our own forum members, John, on his engagement, well done, buddy.
Oh,
congratulations there. But yeah, Solanke, not the most difficult goal to score, but it's one of those things. Centre forwards need to be in the right place at the right time, and he did exactly that. He could have got a second, but I think beyond that, it was probably his most impressive performance in terms of tracking back, getting involved in the press, although he's done that very well in other games as well, and being part of the build-up. I thought he had his best game so far, notwithstanding the goal.
Also, the hold-up play, which allows us to have another option as opposed to tippy-tappy out of the back. We can actually kick the ball up, and he can hold up. He's actually very good at it, actually. So yeah, another addition to all the factors you just mentioned, Stu, was hold-up play.
That was a solid contribution yesterday. It must be doing it. That'll do his confidence a lot of good, getting the monkey off his back with the first goal. And yeah, as you said, Ash, really great pressing, good hold-up play. I kind of wonder whether. I think I would have liked him getting into more goal-scoring positions than he did yesterday, bearing in mind the amount of good attacking moments we had. I think I'd like to get on the end of something a bit more. I'm not thinking about something that he particularly missed. I'm just thinking about, was he in the right place? He was in the right place for his goal. I'd like to see more of that. I'm not sure if he's in the right place at the right time some of the time. I saw a couple of times when we were like, that the attacking player looks up and you look into the box and you kind of go, actually, where's our striker? He wasn't in there all the time. So it's just a little bit more. I mean, it's a small thing, and I'm probably being completely unfair. The main thing is it was a solid performance and he scored. Good. Yeah.
No, I thought he did well. I think we'll see more from him as he spends more time getting to know the kind of service that we're going to play. It does worry me a little that Ange says that players normally need a season or so to bed in and get to know the patterns of play for his forwards, which means we can't rely on a player until they've been in the club for at least a year.
Yeah, that sounds like a rubbish thing, to be honest. Absolutely.
Yeah, rubbish. I think that might be just a way of reducing the pressure on a player. I hope that's the case in this one. But yeah. Our friend Olmo thinks this one's going to end in a draw. He'd rather draw than lose.
What are we talking about?
He thinks the Man U game.
Okay.
Yeah. He said, our coach is weird. He does stupid things. Yeah, we've been there. Don't worry. We know what that's like. Oh, dearie me. Yes.
All right.
Dear. Right. Okay. So let's. I don't really want to do player of the match and moment of the match. No. Let's do it. So Coventry, your player of the match and your moment of the match. Mine's going to be Brennan Johnson, and his goal. Ash.
Moment of the match, Johnson's goal, but I thought Bentancur, he was involved in both goals. I thought that maybe player of the match, just because he really, really was vitally important in both those goals, and then moment of the match, of course, the Brennan Johnson goal.
Okay, David.
A bit different. I'm going to go. I wanted to go Johnson and Johnson, the player and moment.
Baby shampoo.
The moment of the match, I'm going to go for Jed Spence. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. And player of the match, I'm going for Brennan Johnson.
Yeah, I think Brennan Johnson
with amazing.
I think moment of the match.
Character.
Moment of the match for me is Johnson's goal. I think player of the match. I think Ben Davies. I thought
that's a good shout.
Was solid.
Good shout, Ben Davies. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, and the slightly more enjoyable one, Brentford. Moment of the match. Player of the match. Let's start with David. We'll give Ash a bit of time to think about it.
Well, I've got to go for Maddison for player of the match, although I hesitated. Moment of the match. Vicario dribbling on the line. No, I'm joking. I'm going to go for
having
Brennan
an Edison
Johnson's
moment.
goal. I'm going to go for Brennan Johnson's goal again. It's just I think what a strength of personality to do that. So,
okay, I'm going to go Kulusevski, player of the match. I thought Kulusevski was brilliant.
That would be my second
hardworking.
choice,
yeah, he was hardworking. He was creative. He kind of led from the front almost. If you look at that game and say, right, who's the captain? Based on work rate and based on involvement, I think most people would go Kulusevski.
he was
but
fantastic.
the moment of the match for me would be that last goal. Bissouma tackle, Christian Romero striding forward, lovely pass through to Sonny, and then the clarity of mind to pass it and just make it an easier goal for Maddison than to try and take it on himself. I thought that was the moment of the match. So, Ash, your turn.
Player of the match, as Dave said, Maddison. Another aspect of the Maddison thing is that afterwards I saw some of it. He actually looked happy again. And he says, I might have to bring out the dart celebration. I think we've been so down on him. It would be wonderful if he could that other Maddison come back. Maybe it can never come back all the time. Maybe it's just spurious and spontaneous, whatever. So him, man of the match for sure. And Johnson, just because, as Dave and Stu and myself have all said, that if we get the ball into the right place for him, he really could be a vital contributor to us, scoring goals and assists. And I hope he's got 2 game winners in a row. I hope it spurs him on and that we actually play to his strengths, which will be to our benefit. So, for a moment of the match.
Yeah, I've been calling for feeding the ball through for Brennan Johnson to chase for I don't know how long. I've been saying it on this podcast many times, and it was very good to finally see it. There were still times where I felt the ball could have been played earlier, and we'd have been through 1-on-1 effectively, or certainly giving us a chance to create another opportunity. But I'm hopeful now that we've seen the effectiveness of that, and we'll see more of it in the future.
Can I just ask one question before we stop? What did you think of their goal?
Of course.
What was your reaction and what was your thought when they scored after 15 seconds?
So my viewing pleasure was slightly delayed. I was a little bit behind other people, and it actually came through on my phone, and I was like, that can't be right. It was like, kickoff, goal. I was like, hey, that doesn't... The BBC must have got that one wrong. But no, they hadn't. I felt that they took advantage of a slow start from us. It was a good cross into the box, but mostly it was a really good finish. It was the kind of strike you just don't get very often, and should probably be in goal of the month compilation up there for the competition.
I think Mickey van der Ven's brain was still in the changing room at that time, so he didn't put any pressure on him. It makes it easier. I also think Porot got done too easily, and he got done by the same player again in the first half in the same way. But okay.
Yeah, Keane Potter, was it? Lewis Keane Potter, I think was the...
I'm not sure, but he did quite well, that chap. What were you going to say, Ash? Sorry.
Keane Lewis Potter, you actually stole my thunder, Dave.
Yeah.
I apologise.
I was going to say the same thing. Porot, a little lax, and Van de Ven. You know what? As much as I like Porot, he's still kind of lax on defense. You know, I know he gets. He's supposed to
not going to say it.
Up the field.
I'm not going to say it. I said that start of last season. I got very quickly shoved back in my face and made tweet and humble pie.
No,
he's fucking brilliant.
Great. we like his goals, his thunderbolt goals, like his attitude, but you know what? He's dodgy on defense. He's still dodgy.
I don't agree with you, Ash. I think he was poor for the goal and he was poor for that other chance that he gave up. I think in general this season, he's been pretty solid. He's put in really good performances. He hasn't been poor defensively. He hasn't been poor defensively. He's not been as poor defensively as Romero has at times. And Romero's a World Cup.
Romero's probably been our weakest defender in defensive terms.
Yeah. So no, I'm not down on Porro. That wasn't his best performance, but he's fine by me.
I didn't say I was down on him. I said he's dodgy, and you mentioned 2 points in the game where he was dodgy.
You can't say you're not down on him and then call him dodgy.
one of them cost us a goal, and wasn't good. Luckily, we came back.
Agreed.
Yeah, there was an interesting stat I saw. Brentford have lost more points from a winning position than any other club in the Premier League. Tottenham have secured more points from a losing position than any other club in the Premier League over the last season and a bit. That was fun. We both lived up to expectations there.
Yeah. Did you say the last what?
Okay, right.
No, I didn't hear what you said. Over the last what? Season?
Season and a bit. A bit. Last season and this season.
I just want to make one more point about their goal, which was in a lot of other matches over the last 12 months, when we've let in a goal, we've gone to pieces mentally. Yesterday, we did not, and I was delighted with that. We did the opposite of going to pieces mentally. I felt like we were absolutely furious about it and really went and tried to make them pay for it. That was great. Okay, I'm going to shut up about it now.
It's obviously a tactic of theirs because they scored after 22 seconds in their previous match and 23 seconds in this one. So, maybe they'll do 24 seconds next time.
Dave, can I ask one last thing? Dave?
Yeah?
If not Ange, do you have backup?
Nope. I'm just saying that he's not the man.
But
I'm not basing that just on Coventry or just on Arsenal. I'm basing that on about 30-odd matches of disappointment.
And so you would actually rather see him go now as opposed to giving him a full second season?
Right, that's not going to happen, so it doesn't really matter. I'm just making my feelings known that I just don't think he is the right person to take us to the next level. And neither is Levy.
Yeah. I will give Dave credit on this because he was the first person I can remember saying AVB is the wrong manager for this club. Even when we were doing reasonably well, there was some negative comments from David, but very well reasoned and but they're well reasoned and well explained.
They were well reasoned, but the entire season where we were doing well, it was because Gareth Bale was getting us out of jail match after match after match. As soon as Bale went, the wheels fell off. That was so obvious. Ange is a bit more subtle than that. I just don't think Ange has the tactical nous and the attention to detail and the ability to go and just niggle on every single little point that is necessary at this level. Yeah.
No, I can understand. I can understand why you may feel that way, but for me, I think, as I said to Barry on the forum, at some point you've got to choose a manager to back. And for me, why wouldn't we back a guy who wants to play attacking football, scoring lots of goals, dominating games, and playing in a way that we enjoy?
Well, make me manager then. I want all that as well, and I've got no idea how to put it into place.
Well, he's got the experience of doing it in other places, so I know you have plenty of experience, Dave, but different ways.
Dave.
No, I'm being facetious, but anyway, we're not. I don't want to, because I don't want everything to descend into the Ange out mob as someone.
No.
I'm not part of a mob or whatever, and
there is a mob though. And there is a mob out there. I just stay off. Yeah, there is.
But I'm fully behind the team, and every time we play, I'm 100%. But he's not the right guy.
As I said, there was no way. As I said on the forum, there was no way I expected you to change your mind after 2 wins, Coventry and Brentford, because you're not the kind of guy who would come to a snap decision about wanting him out. and
Yeah,
you ain't going to reverse that decision without seeing more. So
exactly.
if we get to the point where if we can get to the point where you've changed your mind and you're happy, we'll be doing very well, and everybody else will be very happy as well. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to stink up the forum or the podcast about it,
No, it's a valid discussion point, because it's not been an easy run for us. We've had the back end of last season was not at all good. It would have, if you carried that over a season, you're talking mid-table. 13th, I believe. Mid-table. Yeah, lower mid-table. Yeah. So, it's a valid discussion point, and we've spent a decent chunk of money, but how much of a real change have we made to our squad, which I think is probably something to discuss on another night. How much further could we have pushed the rebuild over the summer?
Last podcast,
we have talked about it, but I think we'll potentially see more after the European game. Talking of, we are not going to be around on Friday. We'll be sticking to our one pod a week schedule for now, but we will be back after the Manchester United game. Hopefully we'll do a little bit better than our friend Olmo says, because I'm going for a Spurs win. And we'll be back Monday evening, 8 p.m. UK time. That'll be 9 p.m. for you and me, David. And I have no idea what time that is for you, Ash, because I can't.
Is that on Monday? On Monday?
The Monday, yeah.
Okay, so I should be able to make that. All right.
Excellent. All right. So until then, everybody, thank you for coming. Thank you to Olmo. Thank you to Gamek Ok. I'm going to keep calling you that, for giving us your thoughts. And thank you for all of our viewers. We've had lots of people jumping in on this one. It's been really good. So thank you, everybody. And until next time, come on, you Spurs.